the middle of the Pacific Ocean sits a French Polynesian island called Tahiti. Surfers travel thousands of miles to this paradise. And here, where the road ends, the reef begins at a break known as Teahupo'o. A mutant wave that is awakened by powerful South Pacific swells and invokes thoughts of fear and nightmares for those who try to tame it while avoiding the razor-sharp reef below. 34 of the world's best surfers have arrived and are ready to test their skills on the 7th stop of the Samsung Galaxy Championship Tour. Current world number 1, Matt Wilkinson, is hoping to tame the beast and produce a solid result to continue his dream season. For world number 2, John Florence, and number 3, Gabriel Medina, the 2014 Tahiti champion, they're hoping Teahupo'o consumes Wilkinson, giving them the opportunity to wear the coveted Jeep Leaders jersey. For some, this event will be a tale of surviving a battle with the monster. And for others, it will be about conquering their fear while taming the beast. It's time for Teahupo'o to awaken from its slumber and the start of the Billabong Pro Tahiti. Your Honor, good morning. It's a beautiful Friday here, August 19th, and the opening day of the waiting period for the Billabong Pro Tahiti on the sleepy side of the island known as Teahupo'o. Thanks for being with us. This is Dawn Patrol. Joe Turpel alongside a couple of world champions, big wave champ Pete Mel, 89 world champ Martin Potter. Morning, Pete. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
Great to see Potts also back here in Tahiti, a place that you came in the early 90s. Happy to be back, Potts.
Oh, so stoked to be back, Joe. Nice little break, but raring to go, and I can't wait to watch this event unfold.
Coming up on Dawn Patrol, we're really going to focus on the heavy names on the Jeep leaderboard. That top 3 picture is huge. First of all, welcome everybody to this amazing wave called Teahupo'o. Then really going to dissect the form of Matt Wilkinson and how he's going to perform here in Tahiti. And then the threats here, John Florence, number 2 in the world, Gabriel Medina with their shots to take out this title once again. So it's going to be fun to see their form with, obviously, the swell forecast, which is going to be a huge part of fantasy picks coming up later on in the show. But, Pete, coming to stop number 7 of the season now, it's been such a special year. Out of 6 events, we've had 5 different winners, and obviously still celebrating the amazing run from Matty Wilkinson.
I'll take a quote from Martin Potter here and say, the cream rises to the top, and you've got Gabriel Medina and John Florence, who are now clawing at that Jeep leader jersey. Matt Wilkinson, the big surprise of the season so far, but he still has a chance here, and I like the way the forecast looks for a Wilco to do well, so I think he's going to be in this mix, but of course you can't count out John or Gabriel in this event.
Potts, looking back throughout the previous 6 events, as far as wave quality is concerned, how have we been scoring so far on tour?
I think we're sort of pretty average, really. I mean, we've had some incredible years. Obviously, you just got to go back 2 years ago, especially here to this break. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal. So it's going to be hard to try and get anything as close or as good as that. But, it's going to be an even playing field, I'm calling. I think we're going to see a little bit of high performance and then thrown in with a couple of barrels. So, as you said, Pete, I think it's going to be user-friendly for Matty Wilco, but you cannot count out Medina or John. I mean, those guys have both got complete packages. I mean, unbelievable. And especially once they taste that blood, it's going to be dangerous for Wilco.
As you know, Potts, it's a long season to be a world champ. It's a performance from year all the way from the start to finish of Pipeline. So far, the focus has been on the man wearing the Jeep yellow jersey for every single event so far this year. Matt Wilkinson taking out the big win at Snapper Rocks. As we look back at this form, Has anything changed for you with his confidence, Pete, coming into stop number 7?
Well, we'll see. He came here, was able to get some practice time in. I think that was really beneficial, especially since the conditions were almost kind of similar to what we're going to see for the forecast. But I mean, what a start for this man. We didn't expect it. And he put it together the first 2 events, 2 wins, and he was surfing amazing. He had some close calls, was able to persevere through that, and then he had some dominating performances.
Then we saw John Florence return to Baja da Tijuca, a place where he's won in the past. How did he get this one done, Potts?
Well, I think he got it done with just purely, aggressive surfing like John does. I mean, the thing I like about John this year, he's got no other projects happening except that focus on the world title. And you could see in Brazil, it all came together for him. With that kind of surfing, if he can continue that kind of form and that kind of headspace, he's going to be very tough to beat coming into the back part of the year.
Rio also served as a jump start for Medina, doing the first backflip ever done in the Jersey. Got a 10, but started moving up the Jeep leaderboard, and ultimately to a big win in Fiji, Pete.
Well, and you look at where his performances have risen throughout his career, and you'd go to places like this, Fiji, and then come to Teahupo'o. His level, his competitive heights that he's had have come from these reef passes. So we didn't expect that when he started the tour, and now he's one of those dominating performances, and he's going to be rivaling at a place like Tahiti what Kelly Slater's been able to do here. I mean, the guy is amazing.
Coming into Jeffreys Bay, remember John was injured last year, so we got to see him back at this long stretched out ride. A lot of times people just wait for John to get barreled in heavy conditions, but he's been coming to J-Bay for a long time, and he started getting big scores from going to the air and also for overall performance spots.
Yeah, I mean, that's, gone are the days of just that rail surfing that we always predict is going to win at J-Bay. It did this year with Mick Fanning. I mean, Mick Fanning's special, isn't he? I mean, no one can surf J-Bay like Mick Fanning, but John brought that air game. It took him pretty much almost all the way, and he finds himself in number 2 spot in the world right now.
Really interesting looking at the Jeep leaderboard. Fanning to 5th in the world with that big win at J-Bay, but absent from competition in Tahiti since he's taken a personal break this year. De Souza, last year's world champ, up to 4th in the world. And now the focus on the numbers. John and Medina getting really close to Matt Wilkinson on the Jeep leaderboard. Pete, Wilco had so much distance after that dynamic start, and now it looks like Florence and Medina are just chomping at the bit to take over that lead.
It's true. And, I think that we knew this was all going to happen. I mean, we knew that it was going to start to tighten towards the end of the year. Wilco knew that going into it as well. But I think that this is a point where he's had some poor results now and had to think it through, I think, a bit more, coming here to practice again. And I think that this is an event he has to do well. He's going to have a wild card in Bruno Santos, which I think is, when you look at the conditions again, Bruno surfs so well out here. It's going to be a tough first-round draw for him. Exciting
to see Bruno Santos back in the main event with a huge trials win. Also here at Teahupo'o, back representing Tahiti in the main event. Now let's get that official call for the opening day of competition with Strider Raspberry Wazalewski on the boat with Commissioner Kieran Farrell.
Thanks, boys. Yeah, out here with Kieran. Kieran, out in the water this morning, a little R&D.
Yeah, it's always good to get out there and just feel what the ocean's doing, see what the energy's like out there, and have a chat to some of the surfers.
There you go. With that, have you guys made a call, an official call for the morning?
Yeah, given the conditions are pretty average this morning, there's a lot of wobble in the lineup. The swell's kind of backed off a little from yesterday, and the new pulse hasn't really filled in. So we'll be off for the day, and we'll come back tomorrow morning.
For tomorrow and the days after, are we looking at some swell coming in? What's the height we're going to get?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We've got a series of sort of southwest to south-southwest overlapping swells coming in, so pretty decent, and should be quite good when they get here. Longer period, which is always good for the reef here.
Nice. Well, we'll be back right here at the Tahiti Pro. We're going to bring in some more information about Matt Wilco and how good his year really has been. We'll see you guys in a minute.
Some people waiting just a little further. There's no turning back. Good morning, everyone. Day one of the event window here at the Billabong Pro Tahiti, and we are going to go off for the day. We'll be back tomorrow. Ronnie Blakey here with Ross Williams. It gives us a great opportunity to have a look at the world title contenders in 2016. Matt Wilkinson is who we're going to focus on, Ross. A great year for Matt. He's on his way to his best ever finish, previously an 18th. His highest finish on the ratings this year. He should finish well within the top 10, maybe top 5. He might even win a world title. What are your thoughts?
It's pretty crazy to think about. You know, the best he's ever done, you said, is 18th. That's wild. And here he is with the yellow jersey still. And we're halfway through the year, Ronnie. Everyone's asking how. How could someone like Wilco have done this? All of a sudden he's a world title contender. And I think it's just basics, you know, working closely with Micro, cleaning up his act, basically, having clean heats, very smart with priority, don't fall. It's those little simple things that a lot of those surfers in the back end of the ratings that seem to mess up. They're kind of, every now and then they'll show their brilliance. Everyone can free surf great, but being able to be consistent, which is what Wilco's done. You think about Fiji, that's a great example. It's not like he blew minds there, but he was very clean with his heats, and that equated into a solid result.
Well, we saw some of his previous results, his best at past efforts on the championship tour, and he's had some pretty shonky history at certain locations, and Tahiti has been one of the real tough ones for him. Just one quarterfinal finish. Other than that, hasn't made it past the third round a second time. So like Pete Mel mentioned in the first segment of our show, the pressure's really on now. He's got a couple of fierce world title rivals breathing down his neck. He needs to put together his best ever effort here in Tahiti in 2016.
Well, you can see right there, 13%. And so, you know, as far as fantasy goes, I think Wilco is a very smart pick, along with Italo Ferreira, by the way, who only has 4%. You know, everyone's going to have John and Gabriel, and those guys are so consistent. For them, they're going to come here and do what they do, go big and try to stay smart as well as surf with you know, the highlight package that they always produce. Whereas Wilco, he's going to have to continue what he's doing this year. He can't, you know, he doesn't have the luxury of drawing back on past experiences. You know, he had one decent result, I think it was at 2011, where he got 5th, but other than that, you know, he doesn't really have anything to pull back from, so he's going to have to continue that kind of writing this new chapter in his career run.
The challenges are going to come early. Not an event that sometimes you want to be the top seed in when you start thinking about the wild cards in this contest. This is one of the rare events that has been taken out by a wild card, and Matt Wilkinson is going to meet that man in the very first round of this contest, Bruno Santos. But have a look at his stats here in Tahiti. Winning percentage 36.84. That's basically on the strength of that quarterfinal finish back in 2011. But the real concern is the excellent heats. He's only had one excellent heat, 16 points plus in his entire career here in Tahiti.
Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be tough for him, and he's drawing, you could say, out of the two wild cards. You know, Hida is going to be tough, but Bruno is really, you know, the guy out here. He's won this event before. Bruno's not only good when it's big, he surfs great when the waves are small too, so he's going to test Wilco big time, whereas John, a little bit of the easier of the two with Hida. Again, Hida's not going to be a pushover, but, you know, John's got to be liking getting out of those two wild cards, getting Hida.
Definitely. With the start that Matt Wilkinson has established, and even though he's got Gabriel and John breathing down his neck, keep in mind that he is a completely different surfer this year, a lot fitter. He's going to be able to get under those lips a lot easier, and he's going to give it a good nudge here in Tahiti. After the break, we're going to have a look at Matt Wilkinson's world title rivals, John Florence and Gabriel Medina.
Turning back now. All it's gonna take is a change, what you believe in.
up. Good morning and welcome to the Billabong Pro Tahiti. Thanks for watching Dawn Patrol. We're waiting for conditions to improve on this first day of the waiting period, so the contest is off. So we're diving in to the World Title Showdown, being stop number 7 of the year. Joe Trappell alongside Peter Mel and Martin Potter. Early this morning, we really focused on Wilco in the last segment. Now let's bring it to John Florence, Pete. He's a guy that comes to Tahiti and you just want to give him the trophy. He's put to be the best guy out here, but he hasn't won yet. Is that going to change this year?
It could very well. You know, again, we talked about it earlier about the conditions and the way the forecast looks going forward. It's going to be an even more even playing field. If it was conditions like we see right here, you'd have to say yes, he's going to be right there along with Kelly Slater and Gabriel Medina. But doesn't take away how good he is, even when it's a little bit smaller, and his speed control on the barrel. And it still is going to be a barrel riding event, even though it's going to be a bit smaller. So he knows how to find those good waves. He knows how to stall and get the long barrels, you know, those times where he's able to maximize tube potential, and he's one of the best at it, especially on the backhand. So you'd have to say yes, he is in contender here. He's got a high seed, so he's going to have a little bit easier draw going through the entire round. So I'm not going to say give it to him, but he is definitely one of the best out here.
Pot's always talking about John being one of the best in the barrel. What about his competitive headspace? What have you seen change this season for him?
Well, I think it's changed a lot. You know, I mean, he's pushed all his projects aside. He's focused on winning a world title, and we saw little glimpses of that, you know, in Brazil where he took that out. I mean, surfed smart heats. He was, you know, looking for the scores that he needed. He was crossing the T's, dotting the I's, which you kind of got to do, and you know, especially at a high level. So I think he's looking really dangerous. I think he's on track for sure. But he's just got to stay in the moment. You know, I think if he can just focus on, you know, one heat at a time, one wave at a time, and not trying to sort of get too carried away, I think he's going to be there when the smoke clears at the end.
Impressive numbers for Florence this year. The highest heat average out of anybody on tour, number 2 in the world coming into this event, who you expect exit range scores from every time he competes here at Teahupo'o. Now comparing that to former world champ Gabriel Medina. This is a fun rivalry between the two. Medina seemed to have John's number in one-on-one competition. He hasn't lost to him since 2013.
Wow.
And he's a defending champ here at Teahupo'o Tahiti. How's his year been for you so far, Pete?
It's been great. You know, I think that he coming off of a win again at one of those reef passes, barreling lefts. We're here at one that he's won before. Confidence brimming, especially, again, I keep reflecting on the forecast, but like the forehand seems to be something where he's going to be able to utilize all portions of the reef, you know, and he knows how, better than anybody on his forehand, to control speed in the barrel, and that's so beneficial to be able to hold that wall, stall, read it, pump into barrels, and you know, again, we're at a barrel riding event. It's all about that, but also if we have those heats that get weird and wonky, and he can go to doing aerial moves or go to the rail, he is the best at it.
So interesting, Potts. When Medina came on tour, you're going, okay, he's probably going to win lowers, all the beach breaks. And then you look at his track record the last few years, it's Tahiti, Fiji, Pipeline, where he sometimes has his best results of the year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's a student of the game. He's getting better and better. You know, he's bulking up. He's getting bigger and stronger, but he's also getting smarter. You know, you saw a little clip there before where he got the barrel and he snuck out of it. Instead of claiming, he kicked out really quickly, went back out, got priority. You know, little things like that Medina's doing is taking him all the way to excellent results and quite possibly another world title.
And look at the excellent heats. I mean, he has 11 excellent heats. I mean, comparatively to Wilco's 1 here on this reef.
Great point, Pete. 11 excellent heats. That means 8s or better with his top 2 score line. In 19 heats, 11 of those heats have been that excellent, and his track record is on record to maybe match Kelly Slater's with an impressive start with a win and a final last year, finishing runner-up to Jeremy Flores. Coming up on Dawn Patrol, we'll dive into the Surfline forecast to see what we have in store for the world's best here at Teahupo'o.
Yeah, my head is spinning, yeah, my ears are ringing. If nothing ever changes, I think I'll be alright. All you ever dream is that your heart starts beating. All that you're afraid of is waking up right, yeah. Moving, we've got some people waiting just a little further. There's no So yeah, my head's spinning, yeah, my ears are ringing. If nothing ever changes, I think I'll be alright. Now the chalk winning, my full moons are bringing in time. It just repeats itself over and over. All this screaming and all this moving around. It's got me thinking that I'm not coming down.
It's definitely one of the most picturesque places you can ever come in the world, and obviously an amazing wave that we get to compete on. So in your face and so powerful. It's a kind of freak of nature, and it's a place that really tests you as a surfer. Teahupo'o is all about the barrel. That's why you come here. You dream about getting a huge, big barrel. You know, you're lining yourself up with these huge 1,000-foot kind of pyramid-type mountains that kind of rise up straight behind the ocean. The wave itself is just, you know, it's so magical, the way it comes in and bends, and it breaks with kind of such power and force. When you are standing in one of those barrels and you get shot out into the channel with a spit, there's not many better feelings in surfing. Every year to come back and surf against the world's best at arguably, you know, the world's most famous and intimidating wave is something pretty special.
Ace Buchan, a past champion here at the Billabong Pro Tahiti, taking us through his version of the GoPro breakdown, a wave he's found a lot of success on. He's made the final series in the past, and he was able to take out Kelly Slater a couple of years ago. Well, a lot of the hype thinking about fantasy picks. Ace Buchan could be one of yours going into this event, but sometimes we always hear, Pete, it's depending on the forecast, especially for Tahiti. What are we looking forward to seeing here, courtesy of Surfline?
Well, we do not have any code red swells in the window. It looks like we're going to have some mediocre surf, but there is lots of it, you know, especially for the first 4 days. You know, we've got this mix of south, southwest, southwest swell, which is on the bottom there. You can see that purple. That's kind of what's on forecast for the last couple days in the weekend. But right now we got the south-southeast stuff kind of in the mix, so it's really jumbled. You know, we've got waves that are coming from all different directions, and it makes it a little bit of a challenging lineup. We haven't had any of that breeze start to kick up yet throughout today, which generally you get that easterly winds, it's going to blow offshore here. That's what's so special about Teahupo'o. It sits at that bottom corner, you get that easterly flow, it blows offshore, especially when you start to see the wave turn around the corner. So that's great bonus that we get to see that here at Teahupo'o. It's one of the most consistent, great waves, especially this time of year. But you look at the forecast going forward, we're not going to have a ton of size. You know, and today it looks like 4 to 5 foot, again jumbled throughout most of the day. It's not really going to. We're going to start to see the southwest, that longer period stuff, fill in tonight and go into tomorrow. So I think tomorrow is our best opportunity to see some the first day of the competition get underway.
So hopefully we'll see that first thing in the morning with heavy round one. Thinking about fantasy surf picks, remember Pete forgot to pick his team before the U.S. Open. He remembered this time.
Yes,
Potts,
I have.
going with picks that are just obvious for you.
Yep.
Who would be the guys you'd be putting on your team?
I mean, I think the toughest part of this event is picking that first tier. I mean, you got John, you got Gabriel Medina up there, Matty Wilco. I mean, who do you pick? I reckon Medina's going to be tough to beat.
It seems like a lot of guys are relying on sometimes a big forecast. You think of Flores, you think of Kelly, all those guys. Do you think Medina might be the most versatile out of the top A picks, Pete, to be a challenge in small or big waves out here?
Yeah, I would say quarterfinals for sure for him, at least, you know, and it just that's just going to how it be, especially where he sits in the rankings, you know, his seeds. You know, that forehand is also going to be something where you can read it here, because it's going to be kind of those swells that, I mean, those waves that kind of breathe. The forehand's going to be the place to be, and he's one of those guys. He's on the forehand.
Let's not forget about the air game too.
Yeah, it's true.
Looking forward to seeing that here in Tahiti. Member Jeremy Flores, Tier C pick, defending champ here coming to the Billabong Pro Tahiti. Set up your teams and join us back for Dawn Patrol tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Take care. This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.